I don't even sit on the floor that much anymore. Oh, yeah. Well, see, that's the problem. Getting down is easier. Oh. So, the hand motions? I need people to manage the equipment. Yes. Yes, I need people to manage the equipment because I can't do that in this. Another week has come and gone, and Shabbat is ending, and the glorious age of perfection is not yet upon us. Oh well, that means we'll have to come back and do this again next week and celebrate another Shabbat. Hardship. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen borei peri hagafen ya la 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 Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei minei besamim borei minei besamim la 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 Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei ha'esh borei me'orei ha'esh la 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 Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Havdil ben chodesh l'chol Hamavdil ben chodesh l'chol Shavua tov, 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 Shavua tov. A good week, a week of gladness reign and joy increase. A good week, a week of peace. May gladness reign and joy increase. We are taught that if the person whose job it is to announce the Messianic age appears next to you or not, treat each person as though they might be that person. And if all of us do that, then we will soon come to weigh our words and watch our hands. And if the Messianic age begins in our lifetime or not, it won't matter. Shh. Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishbi, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu Hagiladi, Bimhera v'yameinu, Yavo Eleinu, Mashiach ben David, Mashiach ben David, Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishbi, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu Hagiladi. May each of us have a sweet, sweet week to come. Yeah? That's a tough one. I have cats to feed. Yeah. But you know what? If it works out that I can come back, I will. Okay. And I'll talk about that during the concert. Yeah. So because this was originally designed to be a bait cafe, a coffee house show, if you need to get up and take care of business and we're in the middle of a song, don't wait, go take care of business. I want everybody to be comfortable and relaxed because that's my plan, is to be comfortable and relaxed. Also, if you would like to take video during the performance, be subtle, don't block someone else's view. You can take pictures as long as there's no flash photography, because this concert is being live streamed on YouTube as we speak. And I'm just gonna dive in. The shed behind my house is filled with junk that I trip over. I know I need to clean it out. It's hard to find the time. The back room of my heart is filled with anger and frustration. Doesn't do me any good. I wish it wasn't mine. Left Rally Elohim. Oh God, help me clean my heart. V'ruach Hadesh B'kir bi, and bring new strength to my spirit. Whenever happiness happens, I can't seem to trust it. Like a rug that's waiting to be pulled right out from under me. I want so badly to believe that all the world's made for me. Can't get past the dust and ash to trust in what I see. Left Merali Elohim. Oh God, help me clean my heart. V'ruach Hadesh B'kir bi, and bring new strength to my spirit. I'm weary of this like a backpack filled with bricks and things I cannot fix all by myself. I need to set this burden down and walk away from my old pain, wash me clean like rain, and return to you, and return to me. Put the broom into my hands to sweep out all the trash, and the paintbrush and the can to make my heart shine clean again. Dear God, the great whatever who brought me to this place, give me courage to forgive and trade my anguish for your grace. Levtar, Rally Elohim, oh God, help me clean my heart. Baruch HaKadosh, Vakir me, and bring new strength to my spirit. Bring new strength to my spirit. Thank you. That was my understanding of Lev Tahor, a song we usually sing as we're preparing for the High Holy Days, but frankly, my shed could stand to be cleaned out several times a year. One of the things about my songs is that they often reflect my real life as seen through the lens of someone living as a Jew in a not-so-Jewish place like Portland. And if you live here in Tallahassee, you can probably relate a little bit. Those of you who were here for our lunch and discussion session got to dig deep into some of that vibe and go, well, what is it like to be Jewish in a not-so-Jewish place? As it turns out, it can be vibrant and beautiful, and you have demonstrated that here this weekend time and again. This is a song I wrote in response, believe it or not, to the Al-Chet prayer during the High Holy Days when we pound our chests and we say, we suck at this and we didn't do so good at that either. But really, I wanted an Al-Chet that provided an answer, because we stand there and we pound our chests and we talk about all the ways in which we've fallen short, but there are no solutions offered in Al-Chet, and I found that very unsatisfying. So this is my understanding of an Al-Chet that offers a little bit of hope and an imperative. It's called Now Is All We Have. It's not enough to survive. We've been doing that forever. It's not enough to just wake up and be alive for another day, another week, or whatever. It's not enough to drop some coins in a box to keep from feeling guilty. We must do more than look away or cross the street, so we won't bump into someone cold and filthy. We are put here to be more than just ourselves, to see farther than one lifetime, gathering seeds that might not sow, pass them on to those who go beyond our here and now, because now is all we have. It's not enough to know what must be done if we never push ourselves to act and grow. It's not enough to say we've done our best if it's just just ourselves, to see farther than one lifetime. Gathering seeds we might not sow, pass them on to those who go beyond our here and now, because now is all we have. We are put here to be more than just ourselves, to dream farther than our lifetime. Everything we say and do is for those who follow through beyond our here and now, because now is all we have. I started writing Jewish songs over 25 years ago. And at the time, I was still a full-time bicycle mechanic and working in a shop, managing a shop. I was a co-owner, dealing with people from all walks of life. And I had just really started to sink my feet into rootedness in a Jewish community. I didn't grow up in Jewish community. I came to Jewish communal life in my 30s. I wanted to see what I had missed. I wanted to see what my parents had not been able to give me. And so I came and I explored and I loved what I found. So I stayed and I kept coming back. And so began the adventure of trying to find the dovetail between my life as a Jew and my life as in everything else. Because in Portland, being a Jew doesn't necessarily guarantee that you're going to belong somewhere, and in fact, it heightens your sense of difference. So I wrote a song about trying to make sense of it all and to find the strength that I needed to be more fully myself and to name things that I had dreamed of doing for a long time. One of them being stuff like this, traveling around and sharing my songs with people. And so I called upon a psalm text, Ozi v'zimrat Yah, God is my strength and my might, and eventually my song. And this is my understanding of Ozi v'zimrat Yah. If I do what I love, they say the money is sure to follow. So far I've just ended up doing what I love. They say if I trust in the universe, then all my dreams will come true. But the universe is a big place, like a train without an engineer. And sometimes my life feels like it's going off the rails. I try to keep the faith, but what is faith? Some days it's so hard to carve out enough time to be inspired and create. When I come home bone tired, my hands filthy and so sore. Well, the universe isn't leaving pots of money at my door. So the next day I must find the strength to do it all again. Ozi v'zimrat Yah, vayili Yeshua. Where is my strength and my might? Oh, be my saving grace. juggling 100 things. There's work to do, there's bills to pay, and somewhere time to sleep. For a little while every day, I try to make some music. I don't know if it's new or old, just as long as I play something like a prayer, it clears my head before I head on out the door. Why on earth do I keep chasing this exasperating dream? Why should anybody care if I write yet another song? When I play my music and the people sing along, I don't know if you can hear me, but I hear you. I know you're hearing something, and in your grand design, that's more than good enough for me. Oh, Ziva Zimuratya, Vaili Shua. You are my strength and my might. Oh, be my saving grace. When I think on all the things I've had to live without, I can get myself so worked up in my righteous rage. Then I stop and I remember all that I've been given by the one who knows there's more to me than just the things that I can see. And I'm still here to work out what I'm here for anyway. And if no one ever offers me the moon and stars above, I've already been given more than I could ever want. 'Cause the chance to carve out time to write songs that folks might sing is the best gift I can hope for, just to get the people singing. And that may well be why you put me here, just that, nothing more. Oh, Ziva Zimuratya, Vaili Shua. You are my strength and my might. Oh, be my saving grace. Oh, Ziva Zimuratya, Vaili Shua. You are my might, my strength and song. Oh, be my saving grace. Oh, be my saving grace. Oh, be my saving grace. Thank you. So, as I said, I didn't grow up in Jewish community, but I came into it because my mother was in hospice when I was in my early 30s. And she said, I need you to do something for me. And I said, what's that? And she said, I need you to say Kaddish for me after I'm gone. Now, this was not something we had done. This was not a regular part of my childhood. And so I went, why? And she said, because it's what children do for their parents. And you are going to do it for me. And so I went to Powell's Books, largest used bookstore in America. I bought a used Siddur, and I Xeroxed the transliteration of the mourner's Kaddish and slipped it into my wallet. So when I got the phone call, I'd be ready. Other than that, I didn't know what the rules were for when someone died. Okay, I was raised by ferociously secular parents who really just, my dad used to say, better you should be a good American. You should be an informed American. And if you want to do Judaism, you're on your own. You can do that later. So I did, Dad. And what happened was that not long after I did that and got the transliterated Kaddish into my wallet, the rabbi who was on call at the hospice called me and my sister and said, we'd like you to come down. And your mom would like you here tonight because she needs to do something, and she needs to do it in your presence, in the presence of her children. So we said, okay, what's that? And he said, she needs to say vidui. And we asked, what is that? He said, it's kind of like last rites. It's a confession you make on your deathbed. And I said, isn't that Catholic? And he said, many cultures and traditions have their own formulation of this thing. And this is the Jewish way. So come down. So we did. Now I have to tell you, the only things that my mother taught me as a child were how to make motzi and the first line of the Shema. That was the total sum of my ability to pray in Hebrew. We got to, there was a whole bunch of Hebrew. It was very flowy and beautiful. We're standing on either side of her bed, holding her hands. And we get to the part where he says, Shema Yisrael. And my sister and I look at each other across Mom, and we go, I know that. And that was the beginning of opening the door to my wanting to explore Jewish communal life. Sari went home. I had my bike. It was too late to take a bus home. I said, I'll sleep in the guest room. He stayed. He didn't have to, but he stayed, and we talked all night. We grabbed a couple of beers from the communal fridge in the hospice, and we drank beers and stayed up all night and talked about life and death and what it means to be a Jew in the world today. And that was over 25 years ago. And it set my feet on a path of curiosity and discovery, of wanting to find out what I had missed, or what I thought I had missed. And this is the story of that experience. It's called A Cracked Jar. It ties in with the Japanese artistic tradition of kintsugi. In the Japanese artistic tradition, when a vessel breaks, they don't throw it out. They take the pieces and they mend the pot, and they aggrandize the cracks with precious metal. They believe that a pot that's broken and repaired shows more beauty through having been used than it did when it was brand new. And so it is with us. We are cracked and repaired. And the more cracked and repaired we become, the more beautiful our souls become. The phone rang very late one night from someone at the home. You needed me to come down right away. So I got dressed and headed out, not knowing what I'd find. All they told me was you had something to say. Remembering the days when I was young and so confused, and had to sort the world out on my own. 'Cause you were struggling too and didn't know just what to say to help us both feel a little less alone. A cracked jar buried in the earth will hide the cracks, but cannot heal them, cannot heal them. The only way I know that we can mend the breaks is to reveal them. We must reveal them, so we can take each other back in love. My brave face to the world, it hides the gouges in my heart and helps me hide from the scars I've left in yours. But no one's really fooled, least of all not you or me. So I've come heart in hand back to your door. I sat beside your bed, you looked so pale and very small, as you asked me to forgive you for your sins. You squeezed my hand and smiled, and that was when I knew if I forgave you, we could both begin again. A cracked jar buried in the earth will hide the cracks, but cannot heal them. It cannot heal them. The only way I know that we can mend the breaks is to reveal them. If we reveal them, each other back in love. The vessel that I am begins so shiny, bright, and new. It glistens from its perch upon the shelf. But life's little earthquakes make us wobble till we fall and find ourselves sprawled on the floor, bumped and bruised and sore. The cracks tell everyone what we've been through. Today you're gone and I'm still here, a little worse for wear. And I miss you more and more with every day. The gouges in my heart shine with the golden glow of love. The memories of you will light my way. A cracked jar buried in the earth will hide the cracks, but cannot heal them, cannot heal them. The only way I know that we can mend the breaks is to reveal them. If we reveal them, perhaps we'll take each other back. A cracked jar buried in the earth will hide the cracks, but cannot heal them, cannot heal them. The only way I know for us to mend the breaks is to reveal them. We must reveal them, so we can take each other back in love. So we can take each other back in love. So I released a new album this past Monday. It's called On the 45th Parallel. And it is about exploring my life as a Jew in Portland who believes that Portland is her Jerusalem. There is no place else on earth I would rather live. Even though it's cold and gray and wet and it rains 45 inches a year and the skies are gray 7 months out of the year, and a lot of people go, how can you do that without getting depressed? Well, to be honest, I am depressed, but I get treatment for that and I live with it. The truth is that being so set in my sense of home has made it somewhat challenging for me to know how to connect to a place like Israel. Where do I start? How do I mean, I'm never going to afford the trip, okay? Let's be honest. A lot of people in our community are never going to afford the trip to Israel. So how else do you form a connection with a place so far away? You have to be creative about it. Fortunately, in 2016, somebody reached out to me from the organization Women of the Wall, which is an organization that fights to ensure the future of egalitarian prayer at the Western Wall, the Kotel, the holiest place in Israel for Jews. And they were experimenting, they were treading on some very scary ground here. They were experimenting with doing an egalitarian version of the priestly blessing, and would I like to try my hand at setting the Hebrew text, their Hebrew text, to music? And I said, well, sure, send it to me. This was a friend on Facebook that I was Facebook friends with this lady. She lives in Israel. She lives in Haifa. And she was like, I've heard your music. Would you like to try and do this? And I went, well, okay, sure. And I did, and I sent it back. And for some time, they sang it in their monthly service at the wall until they realized that trying to do the priestly blessing as a women's prayer group was getting a lot of pushback from the people in charge of running the wall. So they didn't do it forever, but they did it for a while, and I was very humbled. But in the meantime, it invited me to think about my own relationship to the place, and how do I square that? How do I relate to this place that's halfway around the world from me? So I wrote a song about it, and it's called On the 45th Parallel. under a cold gray sky. I sip coffee on my porch and watch the raindrops fly on their one-way ticket down to the earth. Halfway around the world, a woman I don't know hangs up her wash to dry under the heat of a relentless sun. How can it be that we are part of one, though we're so far apart? Well, up here on the 45th, promised land seems so far away, like a dream I could have had in another time and place. Wonder if I'll find it someday on the 45th parallel. The daily news drones on how we're riding in a handbag on its way to hell, and the sound of breaking hearts is heard all over the world. One day I get a call from a woman I don't know. She's asking for my help. Can't get this puzzle out of my head. I think you hold a piece I need, she said, though we're so far apart. Up here on the 45th parallel, in the corner of the world that can seem like hell gone cold, makes you feel lonely and old, and the promised land seems so far away, like a dream I could have had in another time and place. Wonder if I'll find it one day from the 45th parallel. She sent me what she had, and my piece fit in the gap as if by some great plan. So I sent the finished puzzle back, and she put it to work. Halfway around the world, 100 women I don't know stand up and sing my tune, and somewhere I think I just might belong, all because of a simple song. We don't feel so far apart. Up here on the 45th parallel, in a corner of the world that can feel like hell gone cold, I don't feel so lonely and old, and the promised land inches closer every day, and it's not so far-fetched that I might find it one day, 'cause my life has shown me a way from the 45th parallel. From the 45th parallel. From the 45th parallel. Thank you. I'm gonna reach back to an older song. This is from my album 10 Miles. In 2003, I was engaged to be married to the woman who is now my partner and my beshert. And I was still riding back and forth every day from home to the bike shop and back, and commuting by bike in the dark and the rain with lots of rain gear and reflective. I mean, if you're gonna ride at night in the rain, you have to dress up and look like a Christmas tree on acid to be seen. This is the reality of being a bike commuter. And while I was riding, sometimes I come up with songs while riding my bike because the rhythm of the pedals will just kind of unlock a door in my brain and something will come out that could be a song. And I've written a few songs that way. It's kind of weird how it happens, but it just does. And it's weird because the song that I wrote was a ballad. And I'm sitting here, and this ballad is coming. What is this? So I went with it, and I wrote it on my commute to and from work. It took like 3 days. I wrote the song. And I played it for Liz, my partner, and she said, "That's so beautiful. Nobody's ever played me a love song before. If you do it in your shows, I can't be in the room because I will blush and die of embarrassment." Because I love my wife, but she is an introvert's introvert, and I respect that. So, but the song is called Sparks, and it's called Sparks because it touches on the idea that when God made the world, God had to shrink a little bit to make space for human beings. And in the process of shrinking God's self, the vessels that held all the sparks of holiness in the world couldn't handle the torsional, intentional forces of that shrinking, and they cracked. And all the sparks flew out, and a spark flew into each one of us, or so the story goes. And it's incumbent upon us in our lifetimes to recognize that spark of holiness in the person next to us. And how much more wonderful is it when you recognize the spark of holiness in your besheret, your near divinely intended beloved. So this is called Sparks. I think the law is wrong, the one that tells us not to light a spark on God's holy day. The law can't understand the workings of the human heart in all we do and say. When I look into your eyes, sparks go off behind mine, and I can't see for all the glare. But I know that you are there, and all I need's your hand in mine to keep me warm. A jar broke in the world, and it cut loose 100 million sparks. They fell all around. Well, I'm a lucky girl, because a spark fell right into my life, turned it upside down. When I look into your eyes, sparks go off behind mine, and I can't see for all the glare. But I know that you are here, and now we have your spark with mine to keep us warm. Thank you. How many of you have ever lost your temper and blurted out something or lashed out inappropriately because you were so filled with rage. Okay. Sometimes there's perfectly good reason to be enraged. Sometimes an employer will do something completely ridiculous that shows a real lack of consideration or even respect. And you're going to blow your top. It happens. Sometimes the world does something over the top, and you want to just tear your hair out and throw things at your TV screen. I mean, how many of us yell at our TV screen? Okay, yeah, it's therapeutic. Try it. But sometimes when we lash out in rage, we run the risk of hurting. Well, we run the risk of going all fire starter and killing the ducks in the pond. I mean, we burn things up with our rage if we don't learn how to control it. And so I took that story of a rabbi who spoke out against his Roman occupiers with rage and anger, and his friends came to him and said, "Buddy, they're hunting you down. You need to go hide." And so he did, in a cave for 12 years. And when he came out, he was so full of rage that he went all fire starter on a pond and he stared at it, and it blew up into flames, and dead fish start popping up out of the water. I tell you, Stephen King got this from Talmud. He really did. And that's not the kind of rage that helps us. All it does is burn stuff up. So we need to learn how to know when it's appropriate to let it burn and when it's not. So I wrote a song called Let It Burn. There's a fire in my heart, it burns night and day. It's what makes me get up in the morning, gives me strength along the way. But the heat can get to be too much if you get too close, if you try to touch the reason for the fire. Sometimes you gotta stand back and let it burn. One day a fella said the wrong thing and got in trouble with his king. So he took his kid and they hid out in a cave. A dozen years spent in the dark make a man go crazy, make his inside spark and catch like firewood. When he came out, everything he saw went up in flames. Well, there's a fire in my heart, it burns night and day. It's what makes me get up in the morning, gives me strength along the way. But the heat can get to be too much if you get too close, if you try to touch the reason for the fire. Sometimes you gotta stand back and let it burn. Let it burn. I struggled all my life with the unfairness in the world, the way some folks got ahead while others stayed where they'd been hurled. It seemed to me the game was rigged, there was nothing I could do. All the time the tinder in my soul would smolder till the hole burned a little bigger. One day I got so angry at the injustice in the world. No answer satisfied me, no words could ease my concern. When it got to be too much, I said exactly what I thought and burned a hole in the fabric of my family. My rage was just too hot, so I went off by myself a while until my heart cooled down and the anger in my soul turned to coals. Glow red hot inside my soul, and today they tell me where to go and what I know that I must do to shine a light of justice everywhere and let it burn. Well, there's a fire in my heart, it burns night and day. It's what makes me get up in the morning, gives me strength along the way. But the heat can get to be too much if you get too close, if you try to touch the reason for the fire. Sometimes you gotta stand back and let it burn. But the heat can be too much if you get too close, if you try to touch the reason for the fire. Sometimes you gotta stand back and let it burn. Let it burn. Whoa, let it burn. Thank you. Somebody asked me if I would do tonight the song that I did last night during Shabbat services. And so with your permission, I'm going to go ahead and do the one before whom you stand, because it's important for us to know how we know the one. Sometimes the one is found in nature, sometimes it's found on the street, and if we're lucky, sometimes it's found here. But it can be found in all those ways and in all those places. When you wake up in the early light and you stretch your arms and yawn, the sunshine hurts your eyes 'cause it's so bright. Grab the paper off the lawn, setting moon will soon be gone. In the yard's a mighty tree, perhaps the oldest thing upon this land. You stare up at this giant one, the one before whom you stand. When you walk past everyone you meet, and you don't look them in the eye, when you see someone wearing rags out on the street, do you ever wonder why you don't stop and help that guy? There but for the grace of God, it could be you who's holding out your hand. You better ask yourself, who's the one before whom you stand, one before whom you stand. Moving through life without paying any mind, missing every mark on the map. At the end, what will you find? When you go to your holy place to pray, and there's people all around, will anyone hear what you need to say? Though you cannot make a sound, pour your heart out on the ground. You don't have to move your lips for that still small voice to understand. You just need to remember the one. You just have to remember the one. You just need to remember the one before whom you stand, the one before whom you stand. So, when I was a kid, I got sent out to play a lot. Because my mom told me, you have too much spilkus. Spilkus, Yiddish for restlessness, Yiddish for ants in your pants. Today they would call it ADHD and they would give me Ritalin. But in those days, Nobody knew from ADHD, so they sent me out to play, like all the time, a lot. And the older I got, the more I felt invited by the younger generations to see my Spilkes not as a deficit, but as a superpower. I have a couple of close friends who are autistic and who are very clear about their autism being a superpower. And they go, "Oh, you have ADHD? You just live faster than everyone else. It's another form of being neuroatypical or neurodivergent." And I thought, neurodivergent, what a cool word. Really? And here all I thought was that I was just struggling to be normal. Well, what is normal? What is normal? There is no normal. Every person in here is normal for who they are. And that's what the idea of being neurodivergent has left me with. Everybody in here is exactly who they need to be. And how you are the way you are could be your superpower. So I wrote a song to honor my superpower. It's called Spilkes. We tune because we care. My squirrel brain's a wonder, full of bus and blunder. I see everything before a bell goes ding. Right inside my head, thoughts are torn to shreds as my attention span turns into a flattened can, rested in the street, at one with the concrete of this new equation, a crazy situation. Where did my mind go? 7 miles in the snow, up the hill both ways. That's why nothing stays before my eyes. A moment's new surprise before my eyes. A moment's new surprise every time. Why can't my brain slow down till I find something to pound this thought into submission? Seems I always need permission to dream in 4 directions. Why can't I take instruction and simply fall in line? Folks can be unkind. They can't see my pain or hear colors in the rain. A cloud's a train of thought moving faster than it ought to a sound inside my ears that no one else can hear, to a sound inside my ears that no one else can hear but me. Why am I so other? Even my own mother could not recognize a different kind of wise, because the speed of sound turns my head around in a circle of perfection without clear direction. Living fast is hard, no time to count cards. I'll hang on to my hat, get inspired just like that. In a minute things are clear, I can see both far and near. In a minute things are clear, I can see both far and near, right here. How are we doing? I was just going to blow all the way through. Do we have time for a few more? Oh, yeah. Let's do a few more. Okay. Yeah. Huh? What? There's a time frame. We're going to sing as many songs as I can sing. And we'll just and then we'll go and have a nosh and it'll be lovely. Yeah. Burn out, burn up. Yes. Remember what happened in Firestarter? The pond blew up. Yeah. I read that and I just went, that's trippy. You know, dead fish floating to the top of the pond because the kids set it on fire, and I'm just like, Somewhere that's a superpower, but not here. Okay. Hydrate. What is time but a way to break up the day when your life becomes too much to bear? What are minutes but a way to parcel out your life when you realize a day is not enough to explain the flutter of a moth's fragile wings when it hurls itself towards the light, to describe the beating of a human heart and all the light that we can't see and all the things we want to be and all the ways we fear we'll end up so alone. What is rhythm but a way to move your feet along as you dance and swagger down the street? What is a downbeat but a sign that you can start again when you think that you can't take another step? To explain the flutter of a moth's fragile wings when it hurls itself towards the light, to describe the beating of a human heart and all the light that we can't see and all the things we want to be and all the ways we fear we'll end up so alone. What is life but a way to really feel your heart and the heart of someone else as you pass by? What is love but the reason we were all put here so we won't just sit and watch the days go by? To explain the flutter of a moth's fragile wings when it hurls itself towards the light, to describe the beating of these human hearts and all the love that we will see and the trust to help us be together so no one will feel so alone. It's called What is Time? And What is Time is from my album, The Watchman's Chair. The Watchman's Chair is an album that I wrote because I wrote a song called The Watchman's Chair, and then I realized I'm old school. I can't just put out a single song and go, oh, I released something. They do that all the time today. It's like every other week some band is throwing a party because they've released a single. And I'm too old. I can't do that. Put the whole album out. So, excuse me. So I had to build a whole album around one song. And The Watchman's Chair came about because when I retired from the bike shop, I suddenly had a very flexible schedule. And that allowed me to do something I'd been thinking of for a while, which was to become part of my local progressive Chevra Kadisha, my society, my Hebrew Burial Society. There are two in Portland, one for the Orthodox community and one for the progressive Jewish community. And because I have autoimmune issues, I can't ever do tahara. I can't help actually prepare a body for burial. But I can serve as a shomer, as a guardian. I can go and sit with the casket and say psalms. And that experience, I thought, okay, I'm going to go sit with the pine box. Oh no, it's a lot more profound than that. And it's powerful. It gave me the opportunity to ask some very big questions about the meaning of life and death and what we're here for. And so I wrote a song about it called The Watchman's Chair. And if you get that album, the cover of the album is the Watchman's Chair at Holman's Funeral Home in Portland. Because one day after they wheeled a casket out and I had the last shift, the two funeral home workers said, "Would you get the door?" "Oh yeah, I'll get the door." So I wait. They're wheeling it down the hall to the elevator, and I'm like, And I took a picture of the chair because I thought that would make a great album cover. But if you want to gain a fresh perspective on your life, if you want to gain a fresh perspective on your life, go spend an hour sitting with a corpse in silence, in calm, and let your mind be quietly blown. The room is still, so still that everything out there becomes nothing in here. Before me is a pine box, unpainted, unadorned, but for a little wooden star they glued on top. The star floats above the man inside the box, sealed off from everything, become nothing, lying oh so still, too still for sleep. And for that hour I will keep caring watch over the body of the man who is no more. Starlight doesn't shine in here. I sit beside the casket and it's strange to feel no fear. I know that it will be my turn one day, and though I'll no longer know enough to care, I hope that someone else will take my place and take their turn in the watchman's chair. Some may place a candle at their loved one's head and feet to light up the way to heaven. The custom here is different. We take turns taking care of our dearly beloved one. Each one of us is the candle, lighting a heart-shaped hole poked in a world that's fast asleep. And for this hour I will keep caring watch over the body of the one who is no more. Starlight doesn't shine in here. I sit beside the casket and it's strange to feel no fear. I know that it will be my turn one day, and though I'll no longer know enough to care, I hope that someone else will take my place and take their turn in the watchman's chair. My days stretch out all blurry behind me and before me. A million moments rush by in a whirl. When I guard this simple box, I'm reminded once again we're each a tiny speck in the history of the world. 100 years from now, who'll know I was here? Will it matter that I mattered once to someone else who's just as gone, too still for sleep? And in that hour, who will keep caring watch over the body of the one I was? Starlight doesn't shine in here. I sit beside the casket and it's strange to feel no fear. I know that it will be my turn one day. And though I'll no longer know enough to care, I hope that someone else will take my place and take their turn in the watchman's chair. Thank you. I think yeah. This is another one from the new album that just dropped. This is another response to the way the world has changed, to the way that it's gotten really hard to be able to afford to live somewhere and pay your bills and do all the things and still have something called a life. Interestingly enough, when we had our discussion this afternoon and I asked, what makes a life? What are the things in your life that provide meaning? Not one person at my table mentioned their job. Not one person at my table mentioned paying all their bills or feeling solvent. And I found that really profound because we spend so many hours of the day working to make a living so that we can have a life. And there are people out there who are working their butts off who can't even make a living. And so I wrote this song. It's called Merrily on Our Way. Another rainy day, one in a couple of hundred. Brown and black and gray coats crowd on the bus as water pours down from the heavens. Weary souls clock in 2 by 2, we pay the fare and steel ourselves with earbuds and black coffee. Turn a collar up against the anonymity. Try not to feel what bubbles below the surface of the endless rainy days as we roll merrily on our way. Outside the trailer park, one in the last of a dozen. Brown and black and gray folks wait for the bus. They pray will bring them to salvation. When they climb aboard, we will try hard not to stare. We're all taught it's not polite to look too long. You might remind somebody that they don't belong. Try not to feel what bubbles below the surface of the endless rainy days as we roll merrily on our way. When we get downtown, we thank the driver and step off. Brown and black and gray tents greet our bus, line the sidewalk and driveway on both sides. Hungry faces remind us we can't hide. Try not to feel what bubbles below the surface of the endless rainy days as we roll merrily on our way. Try not to feel what bubbles below the surface of the endless rainy days as we roll merrily on our way. Hey. How about two more? Two more, and then we'll nosh. Okay. You know what? Yeah, there we are. You may notice that a lot of my original songs have to do with economic justice, because after years of working in the bike shop and dealing with a lot of folks that rode bikes because they couldn't afford any other way of getting around, I kind of got a class warrior chip on my shoulder, and it's still there. And that's why my shoulders don't sit at the same height, um, because it just isn't fair. Everybody should have what they need. And we need to reconfigure our lives and reconfigure the world so that everybody has what they need and nobody has to struggle or starve. And that's my vision for the world. Everybody should have what they need so that we can all make a life and not just a living. They tell me property is theft, but at the end of the day, what is left to keep us here? To make time stand still, stop the sun up in the sky, when the thief and the victim both have tears to cry. They tell me property is theft, but at the end of the day, what is left to call our home? 'Cause when we move out, someone else moves in, and the cycle goes on as each new day begins. Maybe we could learn not to cling to things with all our fear and might. The time we've each been given might go along a little easier if we share a whole lot more of all that will remain after we are gone, and it's someone else's turn. They tell me property is theft, but at the end of the day, what is we can share what's left, keep the fire glowing bright long past sundown. No more thief and no victim, only neighbors. No thief and no victim, only friends. No thief and no victim, only family now. I wrote this song on my one and only trip to a Jewish overnight camp as an adult. There's a beautiful place in Tumwater, Washington called Camp Solomon Schechter. It's gorgeous. It's nothing but cedar trees and Douglas firs and western hemlocks with their droopy heads around a little lake called Lake Schechter. And if I had kids, I'd want to send them to camp in a place like this, because there is nothing but nature all around, and every kid should have that experience of going and camping out in the woods. During a break in the action during my stay as a guest musician, I had some free time. And right outside my window is a giant cedar tree that had to be over 150 years old because it was massive. The root base was as big around as the round part of this bema. It was huge. And because I was born without a sense of smell, I've always imagined that if reincarnation was real and I could come back as a tree, I'd like to come back as a cedar because they smell so good. At least I'm told. So this is what I close my shows with every time because it's such a wonderful way to wrap up the day and wrap up the time that we've had together. I hope you've enjoyed this as much as I have. It's been such a delight to spend this time with you. I'm always conscious of how we spend time, and I love spending time in a room with music and people listening and singing and absorbing. And I hope you take something good home from this tonight. That's my wish for you. Cedar tree outside my window, growing tall and straight and green. Cedar tree, what can you tell me today about the things I've yet to see? My life beyond the confines of this lovely wooded grove is filled with asphalt noise and bustle, sometimes gets in the way of all I love. Are you lonely when there's no one else around, and you're rooted firmly in one place? Or do you know a secret in your stillness? Can you tell me, have you ever seen God's face? Cedar trees so strong and silent, breezes rustle in your branches one by one. Can you teach me how to listen, so no matter where I am, I'm not alone? Cedar tree, please help me pay attention to that still small voice inside of me. Teach me how to find that heavenly spark that's in everyone, including you and me. Are you lonely when there's no one else around, and you're rooted firmly in one place? Or do you know a secret in your stillness? Have you tell me, can you ever see God's face? Cedar tree outside my window, growing tall and straight and green. Cedar tree, what can you tell me tonight about the things I've yet to dream? Cedar tree, what can you tell me tonight about the things I've yet to dream? Good night. Safely home. Once again, I'd like to thank the lovely folks that made my visit possible, that made this concert possible. I don't know them all by name, though I know that Lois is one of them, and somebody will shout out the names of the other folks that made this possible. Thank you. We are going, so I have arranged here some CDs for sale. There's also download cards from my new album for sale. The download cards are very easy to use, and they're all that will be available for at least a month. Everything is $10. I'm going to do it on the honor system. People can come and take what they want and put their cash or check in the canister here. And when you're done, we'll go next door and we'll have a little nosh. Okay?